everyone, it's Tony with Hidden Light Photography, and today we're going to be doing part 2 of my updated PixInsight workflow series where we sharpen our data in the linear stage versus the post-linear stage. So if you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button. I don't want you to miss out on any valuable information. Now let's jump into PixInsight and learn how to easily sharpen our linear data. In today's video, we're going to be continuing on with my updated PixInsight workflow series where we use both my scripts as well as Seti Astro Scripts to easily process an image in PixInsight. And today we're going to continue from part 1 where we used Astro Image Detail to sharpen an image in the post-linear stage. Only this time we're going to be using Astro Image Detail to sharpen our image in the linear stage. Now, if you haven't used my scripts yet and you're interested, don't worry. I'm going to throw my repository link into the description of this video here. My repository link is one link to get all of my scripts here. And also in the description of this video, you're going to find a link to my video where I go over how to download and install my repository link into PixInsight. Now, just like part 1, we're going to be using M16, and this image was captured using my Celestron Omni XLT 150 OTA, my Celestron AVX mount, my ASI 533 MC one-shot color camera, and my Optolong L Ultimate filter. Now, as always, when we're processing an image, we want to start with the correction work first, then move on to stretching, and finally beautification. Now, as you can see, M16 has a very heavy green cast. Now, that green cast doesn't always have to be green. It can be red, it can be blue. All that means is that our color channels are not balanced. So we want to start off by doing an initial color balance of the image. This gives us a good idea of the potential of our data. Now, to do the initial correction work, we're going to go to Script, HLP, Astro Image Primer. Now, Astro Image Primer will do the linear fit, which will do the initial color balancing of the image. And then we also have a few options down here that we can choose from. If we're working with individual channels, such as red, green, and blue, or hydrogen alpha, oxygen 3, sulfur 2, we can choose use individual channels, and that'll allow us to load those channels into the script. We can do star correction using BlurXterminator's correct only to do the initial correction of our stars. We can choose to keep the channel separated when the script is done. And we can also choose to do star alignment, which comes in handy when we're imaging in mono. Now, for the purpose of this video here, we're just going to do the initial star correction using BlurXterminator's correct only. The first thing that we're going to do is load our image into the dropdown, go to Options, check Star Correction, and it's important to do the initial star correction as this corrects any potential issues with the stars. Issues with the stars can inhibit the effectiveness of background extraction. Finally, we want to choose a reference type for linear fit. Now, M16 has a brighter core that I want to try to keep in check, so I'm going to use the lowest mean channel. From here, I'm going to click Execute. The script is going to separate the image into its individual color channels, perform linear fit, going off of the lowest mean channel, in this case was blue. And then it's going to go ahead and use BlurXterminator's correct only to perform the initial correction of the stars. We're going to go ahead and exit out of Astro Image Primer. Let's minimize our original image and do a quick auto stretch. As we can see, the initial color balance is done and that green cast is gone. Now, if we go to the top left of PixInsight and hit back, we can see that the initial star correction has been completed as well. Next, we want to crop out any stacking artifacts that are in the image. If we zoom in and we scan the sides of the image, we can see different artifacts, these lines that are on the edges. Sometimes you'll get black spots, and in monochrome imaging, when you do star alignment and you correct those rotational differences, you can actually get black areas where the images are physically rotated from one another, creating space. Now, stacking artifacts happen especially when you're imaging over the course of multiple nights. Your telescope may not be pointed in the exact same spot. Your rotation won't be 100% perfect. So we end up getting these little lines and also evidence of rotational differences. And what we want to do is crop those out because having stacking artifacts can inhibit the effectiveness of background extraction, especially if some of the points for background extraction get into those areas that are missing signal. This becomes especially true when using background extraction based off of AI models. So to crop out our stacking artifacts, we're going to go to Process, All Processes, and we're going to come down to Dynamic Crop. We're going to go ahead and draw a cropping box within our image. And we can go ahead and zoom in and go to one of the edges. And if we move our cursor over the edge of the cropping box, you'll notice how the cursor changes. We can grab that and drag it to wherever we want it. And once we confirm that all of the stacking artifacts are outside of our cropping box, all that we need to do from there is click the green check mark. We'll exit out of dynamic crop, and you always want to go back in and double check your work to ensure that all of the stacking artifacts and everything that you were expecting to crop out is truly cropped out. Again, having stacking artifacts can inhibit the effectiveness of background extraction, especially when using AI models. Once we confirm that all of our stacking artifacts are cropped out, we're ready to do background extraction. To do that, we're going to go to Script, Seti Astro, Automatic DBE. Now, Automatic DBE works very well on default settings, and I highly encourage you to go check out Seti Astro's video going over Auto DBE. I'm just going to use the default settings and click Execute, and the script is going to go ahead and perform background extraction. We'll be left with a nice, smooth, even background. We'll go ahead and do a quick auto stretch on the background model, make sure everything is looking good. And then we'll go ahead and do an auto stretch on the resulting image. Now, if we compare these side by side, we can see the difference in the background and how the extracted background is looking very good. Now what we're going to do is exit out of the image that we're not going to be using, and we're going to keep the image with the extracted background. From here, we're ready to run the full BlurXterminator and then extract the stars. The full BlurXterminator is going to go ahead and fully correct the stars for us, and then we're going to remove the stars so we can process the starless image and star image individually. For this, we're going to go to Script, HLP, Star Console. Now within Star Console, we're going to select our image. In this case, Astro Image Primer _ lowest _ ADBE. We're going to check full star correction. I'm going to leave the sharpening at the default settings, and then we're going to check star removal. Now, star removal gives you a few options. You can use BlurXterminator's unscreened stars. You can use BlurXterminator's stars only image. Or if you don't have BlurXterminator, you can use StarNet, which has the options for linear and non-linear. Now, if you're using StarNet, you're going to want to use linear in this case because we are on linear data. If you're using BlurXterminator, you can use either stars only image or unscreened stars. Since I'm removing the stars in the linear stage and then putting them back in post-linear, I'm going to go ahead and use unscreened stars. I'm going to click measure full width half max, and the script is going to go ahead and pull the full width half max of the stars. It's going to put that number into the PSF diameter for BlurXterminator, run the full BlurXterminator, and then use StarXterminator to remove the stars from the image. We'll go ahead and exit out of Star Console, and then we're left with a starless image and a stars image. Processing these individually helps us in stages such as stretching, so we don't overdo either the stars or starless image. We have full control over how much we stretch, as well as other things such as curves and other beautification items that we may choose to use. I'm going to minimize the stars image for now, place it off to the side, and we're going to focus on the starless image. Now, as you can see, we have a couple of blemishes here. We'll zoom in. We have some halos from the stars. We got 2 of them here, and those are very easy to get rid of. We're going to go to Script, Seti Astro, and we're going to come down to Blemish Blaster. Since we're using linear data, we're going to use Auto STF, and that brings up our image. And all I'm going to do is put the crosshairs right in the middle of one of the blemishes, hold Shift, click and hold, and then pull away, and you'll see a circle encompass our blemish. We'll hit Execute, and the blemish is gone. We're going to do the same thing for our blemish down here. Hold Shift, click and hold, pull away. We'll encircle the blemish, hit Execute. Blemish is gone, and then we'll apply this to the main image. We'll exit out of Blemish Blaster, and our blemishes are gone. Now what we're going to do is we're going to remove the noise first. We don't want to sharpen the noise, so we want to remove the noise. We're going to zoom all the way in, and we can see our noise. We're going to go to Process, All Processes, and we're going to come down to Noise Exterminator. Now when it comes to removing the noise, don't mistake that as removing the noise. You want to have a little bit of noise. A little bit of noise is a good thing. You don't want to make the image look plastic or unnatural. So here, I'm going to start with a denoise factor of 0.7, triangle, drag and drop. Noise Exterminator is going to go ahead and reduce the noise, which is probably a better word for that. Think of it as reducing the noise. Here we have just a little bit of noise left. You don't want to go too smooth because you can start losing a lot of detail when you go way too smooth on this. Now, if you run Noise Exterminator and you're not happy with the results, let's zoom back in here. All you have to do is click the back button, adjust your denoise setting, rerun Noise Exterminator, and then just repeat that until you're happy with the results. Once you're happy with the results, I'm just going to go forward again. We have a little bit of noise left. I'm happy with that. We're going to move on to the next step. Now, since we've reduced the noise in the image and we're not at risk of sharpening any noise that we don't want to work with, we're going to go to Script, HLP, Astro Image Detail. Now, since we're in the linear phase of the image, we're going to go for linear sharpening, enable BlurXterminator. So we're going to click enable BlurXterminator. And now this gives us the option to sharpen non-stellar. We're going to go ahead and show a preview. And the script is going to go ahead and look for a stars image that's associated with our starless image. In this case, we have our stars image that we removed with Star Console. Now, what it's going to do is get the full width half max off of the stars image, and then it's going to go ahead and plug that full width half max into the PSF diameter for BlurXterminator. Now, that number is very important because we don't have any stars in our image. As we can see here, we have our image preview. We can zoom in even further. We'll do a 1-to-1 zoom, and then we can get more in there and see what the script is doing. So here we go. BlurXterminator used the AI model to sharpen our image. Now, if we want to give ourselves some more sharpening, all we have to do is move our BlurXterminator Sharpen Non-Stellar slider to the right. Otherwise, if we want less sharpening, we move the slider to the left. Let's go ahead and refresh the preview with the slider moved more right, and then we can see what the script is going to do. Now, once we're happy with the sharpening level that the script is doing, all we have to do is just click execute. I'm going to lower this down just a little bit. I'll probably put this to a factor of 0.6. The default is going to be 0.5. Really, this just comes down to taste. What do you like better? Once we find what we like, we can either execute or we can choose to apply noise exterminator. In this case, since we already reduced some of the noise, I'm going to use a very low setting on noise exterminator. I'm going to check it to apply it. Anytime you sharpen an image, it does introduce a little bit of noise. We can see here there's not too much that's added in, which is why I'm going to use a very low setting on noise exterminator. As always, go ahead and click refresh preview so you can see exactly what the script is going to do. And then once you're happy with it, we'll just go ahead and click execute. So now the script is going to go ahead and apply these settings to the main image, and then we'll be good to move on. So now Astro Image Detail finished up. And if we zoom in here, if we click back, we can see the little bit of noise that noise exterminator removed. And if we click back again, we can see the difference in the sharpness in the image. So we'll go ahead and get ourselves to the point where we can move on. So now we have our image where BlurXterminator did the sharpening, and then noise exterminator took away any additional noise that resulted from sharpening. Now it's time to stretch. So what we're going to do is go to Script, Seti Astro, and we're going to go to Statistical Stretch. Now for statistical stretch, we have a couple of settings here. For target median, 0.25 is going to be good for a nebula that takes up the entire image, whereas a good starting point for, let's say, a galaxy where you have a lot of background, 0.1 would be a good starting point. And Seti Astro has that information right up here in the text. If we click preview refresh, we can see exactly what the script is going to do. So for example, if we go to 0.1 for the target median, and then we hit preview refresh, we can see here that the background gets quite dark. That's almost too dark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it at the default 0.25. M16 takes up a lot of the image, and 0.25 is going to do a pretty good job. If we refresh this again, it looks a little bit washed out. Don't worry, we're going to take care of that in the next step. Let's go ahead and click execute, and then we'll go ahead and exit out, and our image is now stretched. Now what we're going to do is go to Process, All Processes. We're going to come down to Curves Transformation. We're going to open up a preview. And then we're going to go to RGB/K. This is going to be for contrast. The way I like to think of this, if we take the bottom left and we pull that down, that works the background. If we take the top right and pull that up, that works the nebula. Now this is obviously too much, so I'm going to go ahead and reset curves transformation, and then we're going to do an actual contrast curve. Now, one other thing when it comes to previews, if you take a look at the top of our preview window, we have real-time preview, and then we have curves transformation. When you see real-time preview and you have the process name, this is the current view after any adjustments have been made. If we click preview again, now we see real-time preview. This is before any adjustments are made. So for example, if we just do a quick little curve here and we see real-time preview with curves transformation or whichever process you're working on, and then you click it again, we have a after and before. We have after adjustments and before adjustments. So let's reset curves transformation, and then what we're going to do is just work our curve just a little bit at a time. I'm going to pull down the bottom left a little bit, which is going to darken up my background. I'm going to move the top right up a little bit, which is going to give me a little bit more within the nebula itself. We go before, after, before, after. I'm going to go ahead and accept that. I'm going to reset curves transformation, and then we're going to do this just a little bit more, not a whole lot. All we're looking for is a nice looking image. We're going to do this until we're satisfied with what we have. For the sake of the video, I'm going to go ahead and accept that. And then we can go ahead into saturation and we can boost some saturation. So we have before and after, before and after. We'll accept that for the sake of the video. Let's see what just a little bit more does. Not a whole lot. You want to overdo it. We got before and after, before and after. I'm going to go ahead and accept that. I'll exit out of curves transformation, exit out of the preview, and our Starless image is pretty much done. Now we can zoom in, we can take a look, see, and just double check, make sure that everything is looking good. And it is technically also possible if you wanted to do a little bit more sharpening in the post-linear stage. We can go back into script, HLP, Astro Image Detail. And since we are post-linear, we're going to be using the large and small scale structure sharpening. You want to be careful with this though. Let's go ahead and show the preview. Since the sharpening was already done in the linear stage, doing any kind of sharpening post-linear or any kind of additional sharpening, if you do any, I would recommend a very, very light touch. You don't want to overdo sharpening. So just keep that in mind that if you do any kind of additional sharpening, you want to get a little bit less than the default settings that are presented. In this case here, I'm just going to leave the image the way that it is. And then I'm going to minimize the Starless image. And I'm going to bring up the stars image. Now to process these stars were taken with an Optilong L Ultimate filter, which is a one-shot color dual narrowband filter. I'm going to run SPCC first to set the stage for Seti Astro's narrowband to RGB star combination. First, what I need to do is reapply the Astrometric solution. Now, in order to do that, I'm going to go to Script, Astrometry. I'm going to go to Image Solver. And then I'm going to make sure that everything here is correct. I'm going to go to Search, M16. I'm going to choose the closest item to what my image is. In this case, Eagle Nebula and M16. Hit OK. And I like to use focal distance. Now keep in mind, if depending on how you pre-process your image in WBPP, such as using SuperPixel, or if you're doing a 2-time drizzle, these numbers can change. So just keep that in mind. If you happen to change something in here because it doesn't look right and the image solver fails, go ahead and put those numbers back to the way they were, because you probably use Superpixel or drizzled your image, which can change those. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Ultimately, it's either going to work with what automatically pops up or it's going to work with the correct numbers. Once you have everything in here, click OK, and then the script is going to go ahead and plate solve the image. And it's important that we have the astrometric solution in our stars image because SPCC uses that information to know exactly where in the sky these stars are and exactly which stars they are, so that then it can go ahead and color calibrate the stars. Now, if you have any questions as to why I'm doing this in this order, I do have a video going over why. The results may shock you. I'll have a link to that in the description of this video here. I'm going to exit out of the console, and now that my astrometric solution is applied to my stars image, now I need a background. So I'm going to go into Script, Seti Astro, find background, and click search. Now this script is going to go ahead and find me an ideal background for the image, which SPCC is going to go ahead and use. So now that we have our background shown right here, we're going to go to Process All Processes, Spectrophotometric Color Calibration. Now, if you need help with SPCC, I do have a couple of videos on that. I'll have those in the description of this video here. But basically what we're going to do is choose our sensor, choose the filters that we used, and then we're going to go ahead, check region of interest from preview, and then we're going to go ahead and choose the preview that Seti Astro's find background script put in our stars image. Click OK, triangle, drag and drop. SPCC is going to go ahead and color calibrate our image. Now again, there's a reason that I'm doing SPCC first and then NB to RGB stars. SPCC is going to go ahead and set the stage for NB to RGB stars to perfectly get our RGB stars look. I'm going to exit out of SPCC and I'm going to go ahead into preview and delete all because I don't need that preview anymore. And now we're going to go ahead and stretch our stars. Again, since these are a dual narrowband stars image, we're going to go to Script, Seti Astro, NB to RGB star combination. We're going to apply a star stretch. And this is a one-shot color dual narrowband image. So I'm going to choose my stars image. And then I'm going to go ahead and show preview. I want to see exactly what the script is going to do. And I want to zoom in a little bit more. So we'll see what this does. We could probably go in a little bit more here. There we go. Now we can really see what we're getting. Now, I'm going to go a little bit more prominent on these stars for stretch factor. If we increase this number, our stars become more prominent. If we decrease the number, then our stars become less prominent. I'll show you what I mean. Let's go ahead and move the slider to the left. We'll refresh the preview and we get a very light stretch. Whereas if we move the slider to the right, refresh the preview, and our stars become more prominent. For this particular data, I feel that between 6 and 6.5 is a good happy median. We'll actually just run a 6. And then we'll go ahead and run the image with this. I'm going to execute. And then we're going to be left with a stretched stars image that gives us the beautiful blues and yellows and oranges out of our dual narrowband data. Now, all that's left here is to combine our stars image into our starless image. And for that, we're going to go to Script, HLP, Stars Back. We're going to choose our starless image, which is going to be Astro Image Primer underscore lowest underscore ADBE underscore star console. And then we're going to choose our stars image. Now keep in mind, it's important to choose the right one. Even though we have our stars image here, the NB to RGB star combination script does create its own image, NB to RGB underscore stars. Now, in this case, in Star Console, I use BlurXterminator's unscreened stars. So I'm going to select unscreened stars. If you used the StarNet linear data, you're going to want to use stars only image. And if you use BlurXterminator stars only image, you're going to want to use stars only image. If you use StarNet's nonlinear version, go ahead and use unscreened stars. Once everything is set, we're going to click execute. And we have our final image. So I hope you found this video useful. And if you did and want to help support the channel, check out that join button and consider joining a Hidden Light Photography membership. There's lots of perks in it for you, and your support helps me bring you more content. Another way you can help support the channel is checking out my High Point Scientific affiliate link located in the description of this video here if you're in the market for some new gear. Also, do me a favor, that channel icon that popped up, hit that channel icon and subscribe. I don't want you to miss out on any useful information. Drop a comment in the comment section. Did you find this video useful? How do you normally sharpen your images? And then check out that next video. Until the next time, clear skies.